Live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, this is the QTV Nightly News and I am Jul Denjai. Thank you for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. Abdul Sara Jaha, former Secretary General and head of the Civil Service, dies at age 82. More than 200 Gambian pilgrims left Banjul on Friday for the 2025 Hajj in Makkah, joining hundreds who had traveled earlier. All Gambian pilgrims traveling for the 2025 Hajj have arrived safely in Medina, Saudi Arabia. Global hunger levels have worsened, with nearly 300 million people facing acute food insecurity in 2024, according to the United Nations 2025 Global Report on Food Crisis. And Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Mamadou Tangara reaffirms the Gambia's foreign policy priorities and highlights the government's key diplomatic engagements. And May 19 marks the inaugural Food Fair World Fair Play Day, a global observance promoting integrity, respect, and fairness in sport and everyday life. These and other stories coming ahead. Do stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now let us take a look at the news in detail. Abdul Sara Jaha, the distinguished Gambian civil servant who served as the last Secretary General and head of the Civil Service under President Sir Dawda Jawara, has died at the age of 82. His passing is widely seen as marking the end of an era for the Gambia's post-independence administrative leadership. Lolly M. Kamara reports.
Abdul Sara Jangha, the last Secretary General and head of the Civil Service under President Sir Dawda Jawara's government, has died. He was widely regarded as one of the finest administrators of the Gambia's post-independence era, a period often described as a golden age of professionalism and neutrality within the country's civil service. His career placed him at the very heart of government operations, at a time when the young nation was laying the foundations of its institutions. Rising through the ranks, Jangha served in several key roles, including as diplomat, permanent secretary, and chief executive of the National Investment Board before becoming Secretary General, the highest post in the civil service. Abdoulaye Baksture, a retired civil servant and one of those mentored by Jangha, paid tribute, saying, I quote, Abdul Sara Jangha was not merely a civil servant, he was a servant of the people, driven by purpose, humility, and patriotism. His legacy is etched not only in the institutions he helped build, but in the lives he touched, the talents he mentored, and the values he upheld. Following the 1994 military coup led by then Lieutenant Yahya Jammeh, Jangha, like many senior officials from the previous government, went into exile. Though never formally charged, it was widely feared that those associated with the Jawara administration risked detention under the new regime. In exile, Jangha remained engaged in Gambian affairs, offering thoughtful commentary on issues of governance and institutional reform. His commitment to public service extended to the continental stage, where he served as senior advisor to the African Union, championing ideas of African unity and dignity. News of his passing has been met with an outpouring of tributes from former colleagues, civil society leaders, and citizens who remembered him as a man of integrity, intellect, and principled patriotism. Abdul Sara Jangha is survived by his family and a nation grateful for his life's work. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Now, more than 200 Gambian pilgrims departed Banjul International Airport on Friday, heading to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to perform this year's Hajj in Makkah. They joined several hundred others who have traveled for the holy city in what officials have said has been a smooth and orderly pilgrimage season. Momodo Gajaga was at the Banjul International Airport and this is his report.
This latest group forms the fourth batch of pilgrims leaving the Gambia for one of Islam's most sacred obligations. According to officials, a fifth and final group, bringing the total number of Gambian pilgrims to around 2,000, departed on Sunday. Aja Mariam Adulet Si is Managing Director of Tiwawan Travel and Tours.
Ready in full force, mashallah, ready to go and do the Hajj proper, mashallah, ready for this journey of the hearts, ready for this spiritual journey. Seeing that it makes me feel deeper and very emotional. Wallahi azim.
Hajj, the annual pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca, is one of the 5 pillars of Islam and a religious duty for every Muslim who is physically and financially able to undertake the journey. Beyond its religious significance, it remains a moment of deep personal reflection and communal unity for the global Muslim community. Among those embarking on the pilgrimage are Fatou Kinendao Sao, Ismaila Jaite, Aliou Kamara, and Basiru Jallo, who shared their excitement and hopes for a spiritually fulfilling experience.
I'm well prepared for performing perfectly the way the Almighty Allah wants us to be doing it, inshallah, and we are ready to do it correct and perfect. We are praying for the Almighty Allah to give us power and help us, inshallah.
I am standing here not because I have special qualities, but it is time for me to attend call to the holy city.
Our expectation other than them, give all myself to, Yalla and, Yonantebi, just do as much as, I can. Because this, you never know if you're going to come back to do this again.
My sincere thanks and appreciation goes to my daughter Penda Jallo, who made my trip possible. I pray for the Gambia to have peace. I am praying for the country to have peace, and I pray that we perform our Hajj and return in peace.
Once in Saudi Arabia, the pilgrims will perform a series of rites, including the Tawaf, the circumambulation of the Kaaba, standing in prayer at Mount Arafah, and the symbolic stoning of the devil at Minna, in a series of rituals retracing the steps of Prophet Ibrahim and his family. The National Hajj Commission says it remains committed to facilitating a safe and successful pilgrimage season for all Gambian pilgrims. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Still on Hajj matters, all Gambian pilgrims heading for the 2025 Hajj in Saudi Arabia have arrived safely in Medina. They will spend several days in the holy city before continuing their journey to Mecca. QTV's Babukar Sise is in Medina with Tiwawan Travel and Tours and filed this report.
This year, 2,000 Gambian pilgrims registered with 15 licensed Hajj operators have successfully arrived in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to perform the 2025 Hajj. The pilgrims were transported by Air Senegal through 6 arranged flights. Upon arrival at King Abdulaziz International Airport, all pilgrims underwent standard immigration procedures, including passport control, medical screenings, and vaccination checks. Ibn Dur, Gambia's Consul General in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and the Amirul Hajj of the Gambia, Sheikh Ibrahim Jaju, were at the airport to welcome the pilgrims, referred to as the guests of Allah.
We came all the way from Jeddah, which is over 450 kilometers. We have been coming here since 5 days just to come and welcome the Hujjaj. As far as the consulate is concerned, we have deployed all the resources, all the capitals that we have to make sure that, this is a smooth process, because these are our countrymen, these are Gambians, these are our families and friends and neighbors. And it is important to ensure that we service them. We service them to the best of our professionality and to continue to service them all through. Medina is where their Hajj starts, because over here, when they settle down for a few days, they're going to go to Mecca and do their Umrah.
I would like to thank and also assure Gambians that all the flights leave the Gambia on time and arrive here on time. the pilgrims are also complying, so there is no problem.
Aja Mariama Aduletsi is the managing director of Tiwawon Travel and Tours.
They have all arrived safely, alhamdulillah, into Medina, Prince Abdulaziz International Airport. Alhamdulillah. Next, we are going to the hotel. You can see our luggages are out. They will load them in the buses, and they'll take our passports for us. Then we'll go to the hotel, and we are expecting to get our keys when we reach the hotels, inshallah. And when we settle down, they'll start going for the prayers, their normal prayers at the haram. Well prepared, just like I said, we have prepared them. Well prepared to do the Hajj, inshallah.
Pilgrim Ramatulai Jaju expressed her joy and gratitude for arriving safely in Medina.
The trip was very nice, the pilot was good, and we are looking forward to the Hajj, inshallah.
While in Medina, the pilgrims will also visit important Islamic sites, including the graves of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Abu Bakr Siddiq, and Omar ibn al-Khattab, as well as the Janatul Baqi Cemetery, where many of the Prophet's companions and family members are buried. Babukar Sise, QTV News, Medina.
That report there by Babukar Sise will take us to a commercial break. When we return, we have more local and international news stories for you. Do stay with us.
Being the Gambia's trusted network, QCell continues to provide the fastest and most reliable internet service in the Gambia. With 4G plus internet speed, you are guaranteed fast and reliable internet anytime, anywhere with QCell. Get a QCell SIM card now at any of our customer care centers and enjoy the fastest 4G internet in the Gambia. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyubus, we innovate, others follow.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. Now to the rest of our stories. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization has reported a worsening global hunger crisis, with nearly 300 million people suffering from acute food insecurity in 2024, an increase of over 13 million from the previous year. The figures are contained in the 2025 Global Report on Food Crisis. Aissatou Bari has the details.
The report, released by the Global Network Against Food Crisis, a coalition of UN agencies, governments, and aid organizations, paints a stark picture of rising global hunger. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres called the findings a damning indictment of a world dangerously off course. In a foreword to the report, he warned that hunger and malnutrition are spreading faster than the global community can respond, as humanitarian funding faces dramatic cuts. The report confirms that conflict remains the single largest driver of acute food insecurity, alongside economic shocks and extreme weather events. Catastrophic hunger was recorded last year in Sudan, Gaza, and parts of South Sudan and Mali, with famine declared in some regions. And while the report highlights global figures, its relevance is being felt much closer to home. According to the World Food Programme, the Gambia continues to grapple with high levels of food insecurity, particularly in rural areas. An estimated 13.4% of the population experiences food insecurity, a figure that jumps nearly 24% among rural households. Acute malnutrition remains a serious concern, with a stunting rate of 15.7% and wasting among children under 5 at 5.8%. This crisis, fueled by poverty, unpredictable weather patterns, and limited resources, leaves thousands of Gambian families facing what is locally known as the hungry season, a period of food shortages that stretches up to 3 months every year. The United Nations and its partners are calling for urgent sustained support to prevent further decline, both globally and here in the Gambia. Aisa Tubari, QTV News.
Now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Relations and Gambians Abroad, Dr. Mamadou Tangara, has reaffirmed the Gambia's foreign policy direction and outlined ongoing diplomatic engagements. He was speaking at the monthly Mansakunda Town Hall meeting in Bijilo. Usman Jatta followed the session online and prepared this report.
At the latest Mansakunda Town Hall gathering, Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Mamadou Tangara addressed a range of issues from migration challenges to diplomatic conduct. Responding to public concerns, Dr. Tangara firmly rejected suggestions that the Gambia lacks a clear foreign policy, describing diplomacy as a central pillar of the nation's engagement with the world.
You don't have any country that will operate without a foreign policy. Foreign policies are based on principles, and I mentioned those principles: non-alignment, good neighborliness, the respect for our sovereignty and independence, and promoting our national interests. And your strategies, you will not put all in the public domain. I can even say it's not being fair to the founding fathers of this nation.
One of the most pressing topics was migration. The foreign minister gave an update on his recent diplomatic mission to Mauritania following the deportation of undocumented Gambians. He assured the public that the Gambia is in dialogue with Mauritanian authorities to safeguard the welfare and dignity of its nationals.
You do not want to be on holidays and see a cop coming next to you. And many people die on their way going to Europe. And most of them don't have papers. Now, they've decided to take a strong stand and get people out. But the president sent me there as special envoy to go and plead with them.
Migration, Dr. Tangara said, continues to pose complex challenges, particularly in countries like Germany, where many Gambians live without legal status. The government, he noted, is pursuing negotiations aimed at regularizing their stay and enhancing bilateral cooperation.
So if you are in a country and you are not legal, they have all rights to deport you. And when we know that you are Gambian, we do not also have the right to render you stateless. And that's why I undertook a mission with parliamentarians from both sides, so that they know that the issue of migration is not a political issue. We went together to Germany to explain to them the situation of Gambians and to see how best they can regularize some of them.
Beyond migration, the minister stressed the importance of upholding diplomatic etiquette, calling on Gambian diplomats to maintain the highest standards as representatives of the nation.
I have nothing against political appointees. Some of them are doing extremely well. I think when you are appointed as based on the discretion of the head of state, you should make sure that you are worthy of that trust. Unfortunately, some of them go there and think they are entitled and become even a stumbling block in some of our embassies. But now the president has taken a very firm stand on that. If there is any such thing, we recall the diplomats involved.
Meanwhile, the Gambia's broader migration strategy remains anchored in the National Migration Policy 2020-2030, a framework that promotes safe, legal and orderly migration while safeguarding the rights of migrants. It is a timely reminder of the delicate balance between protecting nationals abroad and maintaining constructive international partnerships. Osman Jata, reporting for QTV News.
Now, May 19 marks the first official observance of World Fair Play Day, a new addition to the international calendar formally endorsed by the United Nations in 2024. The day celebrates the universal values of integrity, respect and fairness both in sport and wider society. Our Bob reports.
This year's theme, Fair Play, the spirit of respect beyond the game, urges athletes, officials and communities to uphold these principles in every sphere of daily life. In the Gambia, where sport is more than a pastime and serves as a powerful force for unity, the spirit of fair play faces familiar challenges, from allegations of age fraud in youth tournaments to claims of favoritism and ineligible players in inter-school competitions. Concerns over integrity and equal access continue to cast a shadow over the nation's sporting arenas. But the message of World Fair Play Day resonates far beyond the football pitch. Amid ongoing national conversations around public accountability, equal opportunity, and ethical leadership, campaigners urge that the values that underpin fair play in sport, respect for rules, honest competition, and fairness are just as vital in public service and governance. Speaking at the Global Observance in Brussels, Dr. Geno Kamuti, President of the International Fair Play Committee, remarked, World Fair Play Day is an excellent event to keep fair play in the focus of attention. It's our common task to create a better world. As the Gambia joins the international community in marking the day, it serves as a timely reminder that fair play is not only a code for sport, but a guide for living and a principle essential for building a just, inclusive, and harmonious society. For QTV News, I am our Bob.
Well, this is all we have for you in this edition of the News Bulletin. But before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. Abdul Sara Jaha, former Secretary General and head of the Civil Service, has died at 82. More than 200 Gambian pilgrims left Banjul on Friday for the 2025 Hajj in Mecca, joining hundreds who had traveled earlier. And all Gambian pilgrims traveling for the 2025 Hajj have arrived safely in Medina, Saudi Arabia. Global hunger levels have worsened, with nearly 300 million people facing acute food insecurity in 2024, according to the United Nations 2025 Global Report on Food Crisis. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Mamadou Tangara has reaffirmed the Gambia's foreign policy priorities and highlighted the government's key diplomatic engagements. And May 19th marks the inaugural World Fair Play Day, a global observance championing integrity, respect and fairness, not just in sport, but in everyday life. This is all we have for you in this edition of the News Bulletin. Do join us again at 10 p.m. for another News Bulletin. Thank you for watching.